Hi, everybody. Crafting Journey here. That Journey Chick on Instagram. I'm dropping everything. Oh, my goodness. Well, we'll just leave that. I need to turn my light on. We are waiting for the verdict. Not the verdict, but the sentencing in the Ahmaud Arbery case. As you might recall, the three gentlemen in the Arbery case were all found guilty of intentional manslaughter. Yes. So we're going to wait to see. The sentencing is scheduled for 9 a.m. And as soon as I turn my light on, you'll be able to see me. Hey, everybody. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Sherry. Welcome. We are waiting for the sentencing in the Ahmaud Arbery case. Hey, everybody. Hi, Lisa. Oh, let me turn the volume down. So, good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Ms. Red Stilettos, Crafts and Shoes. Hey, all right, I'm going to share my screen. This is supposed to be happening in a couple of minutes. Let's see. Okay, it's not live yet. 1 minute, so we'll come back to that. But we want to make it full screen. Well, I don't think I can make it full screen until they go live. But anyhow, how is everybody doing? We'll just sit here and watch it. So as you recall, these were the three men that chased down Ahmaud Arbery. The father, the son, and the neighbor who was filming the whole thing. So it was a long trial that I did cover. They were all found guilty of various hi, Mo Henry. Hello, Cheryl. Hi, Lois. Hi, Janie. Good morning. I'm bringing you the Crafting and Crime Show live because we're going to watch the sentencing of all three of these gentlemen. I expect that they're going to spend the rest of their life in prison. So unfortunate. They had no evidence that this Ahmaud Arbery had done anything criminal. Yet they chased him down because they thought he might have done something wrong, and they were going to detain him until the police got there. Unfortunately, they took their rifle with them, and they shot him and killed him. So, okay, we're waiting for the stream to go live. So let me just say, there's some interesting stuff going on in the legal world. There's another case that, oh my goodness, they just reported this 2-year-old missing after 5-year-old. She was 5 years old the last time she was seen. She has been missing for 2 years. No one has seen this child. And they just reported her missing. So the father's been arrested. The stepmother's been arrested. They don't have a body. They don't know where this child is, if she's alive or dead. No one has seen this child in 2 years. How crazy is that? Her name is, it's a cute name, something Montgomery. I was reading in bed this morning. I didn't want to get out of bed. I'm feeling okay, but my sister is still pretty sick. I'm going to see if I can convince her to maybe go to the hospital. I don't know. She is drinking, but not eating a lot. So, I mean, like she had some crackers this morning. Didn't eat anything at all yesterday. Let's see. Let's see if I can find the name of that girl. Oh my God, it's such a horrible case. It's not coming up in my feed now. Oh, here it is. Her name is Harmony Montgomery. And I don't even know what state this is out of. But she hasn't been seen since 2019. How crazy is that? Cheryl says, Rebecca, I understand there's a mandatory 30 years, but judge can allow possibility of parole after 30 years, correct? I'm not sure how this is going to go. I don't know the laws in every state. So, and Cheryl says, we also have the parents of the school shooter in court asking for lower bail. Oh, dear. Well, they've been asking for that. Try to figure out where this other case is. What state is this case in? I don't know if it's a Florida case or where it's from, but it's so sad. A lot of people are covering it, but they're not. I'm not finding what state it's in. Hi, Ralph. Jerry's here. Good morning. Hi, Alyssa. Hey, Alyssa. Alyssa, oh my gosh, you guys have to watch the replay of the live last night in the Ticket to Ride Facebook group. We had a live. Cheryl had a live, and we had some giveaways, some diamond painting drills. That was awesome. Yep. Boy, they're taking their time. We're waiting for the judge is what's happening. And there is a Supreme Court hearing case about vaccines, and the audio is available. Cheryl needs to do this show. She's more up on this stuff than I am. I'll just make her my co-host. Okay, we're turning it over to Cheryl now. I can only cover so much, guys. I'm trying to help my sister. I'm not feeling 100%, although not terrible, just, not 100%. Anyway, Cheryl ordered drills too. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys for ordering these drills. I did an unboxing of, I haven't put it up yet, the Dragon Door. It's a Diamond Art Club, and it is just screaming for bling. Like, there's so much opportunity there, but it's going to take a lot of drills to do it. So I've got to really think it through before I do that one. That's going to be on the back burner for a while, but I'll try to get that uploaded for you today. Got a lot of work to do. I'm working from home today. Got a lot of stuff that I got to get done, but I will try to get that out for you. Hi, Clara. How are you? Oh, it was Tampa. Why is it always Florida? Yeah. So that's a case I'm going to be watching really closely because, where is this child? Oh my God. How do you not report a child missing for 2 years? Dad says, oh, I dropped her off at mom's house. Mom says, oh, I dropped her off at dad's, it's crazy. It's crazy. Nobody's seen her. Hi, Diamond Queen. Oh, Alyssa's thanking everybody for the orders. Alyssa, she's in the chat. She is Diamond Painting Drills. She didn't know that's who she is, but that's who she is. Oh yeah, Alyssa, I don't know if you've seen it, but man, the dragon, the little dragon that's at the door has a lot of ABs that come with it in one color, like an orange. But the dragon part of the door that's up at the top is just maybe some darker ABs. I'm thinking, I don't know, or some of those darker metallics. We'll see. Maybe a bronzish type thing. I don't know. Clara, good morning. Good morning. We got a full house. Don't forget to hit the like button. I'm going to make him get out of bed today and make sure my sister's well hydrated. Yep. Stitch is here playing with his little mouse. Oh my God, this is taking them forever. Come on, guys. Well, we'll have a full house by the time they go live. Hi, Karen. Good morning. Oh, listen, you have the dragon. Nice, nice. Okay, I'm going to have some coffee here while we're waiting. Does anybody have any questions? Do you guys remember this case? The 3 gentlemen, the father, the son that jumped into the truck. The son was driving. He had his rifle. Father crawls into the front seat of this truck and sits on top of a car seat. They go chasing after Ahmaud Arbery. And then the neighbor jumps in and he's got his cell phone and he's recording the whole thing. He's the one I kind of feel sorry for, but he did try to run Ahmaud off the road a few times. So he really did contribute to the whole thing. So sad. So sad. Cheryl's excited that Alyssa has Dragon's Door. Yes, she does. We all have Dragon's Door. I think that should be like the Ticket to Ride fantasy canvas way down the line. We've got so much planned. Oh my gosh. But the Dragon Door would be an amazing fantasy. Don Louder, good morning. Oh, yes, I agree. Yes, absolutely. And because you said the word dumbass, I had to approve your comment, but that's so funny. You're allowed to say dumbass in my comments because you're absolutely right. I wonder where, who am I thinking of? I think I know her as Michelle, but I forget her. Oh, Mama C. She's from Georgia, so she's familiar with this case, very familiar with this case. I wonder where she's at this morning. Ms. Red Stilettos says, I'll be ordering once the gazebo diamond painting from Dreamer Design gets here. Oh, it was supposed to be today, but I think, okay, the gazebo. Lots of opportunities there. Yeah. Well, don't forget to follow the link down in my description. It'll take you to her store, Diamond Painting Drills, and then you can use the code Paris for a discount. 10% off. So no snow yesterday in South Carolina. Oh, there's still snow here today. It's just too cold to melt. It's not a lot, but I love looking at it. I let Stitch out this morning in the snow. He was very reluctant to go out the door. Like he just had to put his paws in it. And then he went out. But I don't know if he liked it or not. He was wandering around. And then when he went through the fence, I had to go get him and bring him back. Wow. Come on, guys. Let's get this show on the road. Anyway, it is scheduled for 9 a.m. Court does never start on time. I don't know why. Oh, you read it as Diamond Dots? Is it Diamond Dots or Dreamer Designs? I think she means Dreamer Designs, but I could be mistaken on that. No snow where Clara is, but it is cold. Yeah. Don Louder got the Dragon's Door on restock. Me too. When they restocked it, I was like, oh. And then some of you guys super chatted money for me on my birthday. Totally paid for my Dragon's Door, and I got my first. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking straight today. The dragon paintings with the books. That my first one of those. What's his name? I'm totally drawing a blank. But you guys know what I mean. I never ordered from one of those, and now I have one. And my sister wants to do it. She's like, I want to do that one. I'm like, okay. What's the matter, Stitch? What's girl? You don't know what to do with yourself, huh, buddy? Come here. Come here. Come here. I wish they would go ahead and start. Come on. Come on. Here. You want to say hi? No, he does not. I do not want to be on camera. Good morning, Mickey Spangler. Randall Spangler. Oh my God. I just drew like a complete blank. So I ordered so many books. It's a stack of books, and there's dragons on it, and then there's some chocolate chip cookies in the scene. But I honestly thought that was going to be a bigger painting than the Dragon's Door. I was shocked how big the Dragon's Door is. It's the same size as this Paris that I'm working on. I feel like this Paris is going to last me forever. Cheryl says Jean needs to feel better so she can diamond paint. I know. She's done this much of her painting. I feel bad because she was going to Germany. She's doing the Neuschwan's Castle. I forget what they call it. The window painting. It's beautiful. Oh, Cheryl, you did that one. Okay, cool. So many books, so little time. Yes, you guys are really on the ball today. You must have are you on the East Coast? Did you have more coffee than me? Yeah. Angie's here. They're putting up the bars and barricade theater courthouse in Minneapolis, Minnesota for the 3 cops to get sentenced for the George Floyd case. Oh my gosh, is that today too? Boy, there's a lot of sentencing going on today. So we're here for the Ahmaud Arbery sentencing, which was scheduled for 9 a.m. We're still waiting for that. So in the meantime, we're going to chit chat. Yes, I did start a new trial. I apologize. I have not kept up with it. I've been listening to it, but I haven't imparted what I've listened to you because of the, what's going on here in the house. And I promise I will do a recording sometime today or tomorrow and try to get everybody caught up, or maybe even Monday. I don't know. I really do apologize. It's just, life, right? So there are several televised court things today. I know, it's such an interesting day. And yes, including that there is a Supreme Court hearing on vaccinations. Just in case you guys didn't know, anytime the Supreme Court hears a case, it's not something that's televised, but it is recorded, so you can listen to it. The only issue with that is sometimes you just don't know who's talking, and it's an environment where a lot of the justices do talk over each other. So, because it'll start out as, where the attorney will present, they're trying to present their side of the case, and it usually gets very quickly interrupted by the justices because they're very familiar with the cases that they agree to hear. They're very familiar. They've read all the briefs. Now they just have questions. They don't want to hear what the attorneys have to say. They just have questions. So it's interesting to listen to, for sure. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Don says, Rebecca, you can only do what you can, especially when you don't feel well. Yeah, even right now, I know I need to go take some Advil, and I will. I'm sorry, I'm sniffling. When I'm done here, but I got to get to work. My job is calling me. Got to do some letters. Got to finish these letters and get them out. So, oh, you guys are so sweet. Ralph, Steve says Chippendale Part 1, 3. Had no idea. I had no idea all that Chippendale stuff went on either. I just enjoyed the men. I didn't know all that crime was going on behind the scenes. Good Lord. And something I didn't mention, and I probably should have, is they were all doing cocaine, these guys. They were huge into cocaine, including the owner. Yeah. Which I'm sure played a part. Wow, this is fascinating. Okay. The judge is taking his time. Oh my gosh, Angie in Minnesota is minus 11 plus wind chill. Oh, brr, you can have it. Karen says, I have to log into my work computer, so I'll have to catch the rest on the replay. Have a good day, guys. Thank you, Karen. Yes, please, hashtag replay. But don't forget to hit the like button. Yep, because he's going to take care of my sister today. Yeah, so I don't have to get exposed. Yeah, I'll let the like button get exposed. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yes, you're going to be exposed. Yeah. Lisa says, I also had the double chocolate trouble Haid. They're your life project. Wait a minute. Double chocolate trouble. Who does that? Who did that one? I don't know if you guys heard, but Jasmine Beckett Griffith released to the public a lot of her work, all of the Strangeling stuff. And so Uniquely Yours Down Under has picked it up. Even it's all in the public domain now. Anybody can have access to it, but Uniquely Yours is going to release it, and they're going to go ahead and compensate Jasmine, as being the artist, which I think is the right thing to do. But I saw a couple, 2 or 3 of the releases so far. She's releasing them a few at a time. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. If you're into the big-eyed girls, check out Uniquely Yours Down Under. You don't mind listening to me talk, okay? Because I could talk the ear off the donkey. Yep. Okay. Well, they really are. They're losing their audience. They had quite a few people in here listening before. I hope nobody else is covering. Maybe they just didn't get their cameras set up. I don't know what's going on here. Let me check my phone. Nope, we're all still waiting. Still waiting. Yeah, everybody's still waiting. NBC is still waiting. This is CBS I've got on here now. Court TV says they are in the judge's chambers. Thank you, Dawn. Well, we knew something was going on. How are my fur babies? The dogs will not leave my sister's side. They have, I think, dogs have this intuition. Animals do that, when someone's not feeling well, and they won't leave her by herself. They want to be right next to her. I literally had to drag Tootsie out of that bed last night to get her to go sleep in bed with me because Jean's bed is just not that big, and I wanted her to be a little bit more comfortable during the night. But they're both in there now with her. Now Stitch is right here running back and forth. His battery is low. His mouse battery is low. Horse, here's your mouse, buddy. Here's your mouse. You're still on level 1. That means you're not playing. Hello. I think Pearl's up to something in the kitchen. God knows what. Janie says, just love this FedEx. My package says delayed, but out for delivery. So which is it? Delayed. I'm going to go with delayed. So. Ms. Red says, I'm a JBG patron. I live about 40 minutes from her Florida home. We chat a lot. Okay, JBG. What is that? JBG. I know that I should know this, right? Ahmad's mom says she's going to ask the judge for the maximum as her son didn't have a chance. Oh, so we're going to hear from, I forgot, during the sentencing, you get to hear from the victim. So the mom is going to get to speak. The mom of Ahmaud Arbery, she's going to get to speak. I doubt that the defendants will speak because I'm sure they all have appeals. So they're going to be advised not to say anything. Cheryl says they are saying there is a federal case on February 7th for the 3 being sentenced today. Yeah, they're also being charged with violation of civil rights. So they're in big trouble in federal court, just like the police officer that, he was found guilty of murder. And I'm drawing a blank. This is my head is, yeah. He's also facing a federal charge as well. And actually, he pled guilty in the federal case, so you're not going to see a trial in that, even though you don't see trials in federal court anyway, because they don't televise them. Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Oh, God. Thank you, Mickey. I'm thinking of which Supreme Court justice is she talking about? Okay, we're back on Jasmine Beckett Griffith. That's cool. I didn't know she had a place in Florida. That is neat. So she's nice and warm. I'm sure that's where she is right now. Hey, Derek Chauvin. Thank you, Nana. Hi, Nana. How are you? Oh, Nana will be riled up about this child case. Hey, Nana, did you hear about that case in Florida? 5-year-old in 2019. She hasn't been seen in 2 years. She would be 7. She would be 7 now. And parents just reported her missing. This is out of Tampa, Florida. So that's a case I'm going to be covering. Yeah. How are you today, Nana? I like your little icon. I'm in that picture. If you blow up that little icon picture that Nana has, I'm actually in that picture. It's a picture of us at the retreat. I can't wait for the retreats. I'm going to both this year. The one in, I think it's in July, and then the one in October. Robert, good morning. How are you, buddy? We're here for waiting for the sentencing. Is scheduled for 9 o'clock. I understand everybody's in the judge's chambers. And you know how lawyers are. They all love to talk. So, and there's a lot of lawyers in this case. There's 3 defendants, 2 lawyers per defendant. So I'm sure they all have a lot to say. So I don't know what they're hammering out in the judge's chambers, but when they come out, we'll be here. And Nana says she hadn't heard of that. What the hell? Wait 2 years to report her missing. I know. Please be careful at the retreats, everyone who is going. I'm hoping, Cheryl, that is July. Every year this will be the 3rd year I'm going to a retreat. And every year we say the same thing. Be careful. And last year, I'm telling you, it wasn't good. It wasn't good because people did get COVID after that retreat, and it was sad. So I'm hoping like this Omicron thing just plays itself out. And they were saying on the news yesterday that this is just going to be the new normal, that we're just going to have to make sure that we're all vaccinated, boosted on a regular basis, just like the flu. I don't know. It's terrible. I don't know what the cats are up to. I keep hearing stuff going on in the kitchen. There was a faux pas the last retreat. Yeah, there was. Sherry says, had a case like that here in Colorado. They found her buried in the yard. Both parents went to jail. That's terrible. Well, they're looking for the little girl. I'm hoping like somebody has her, like a relative, someone. I hope someone has this little girl. Cheryl says there's another variant now. Oh, we did not need to know that this morning. We really didn't. Alyssa wants to know, where are the retreats? Alyssa, I will fill you in offline, but the one is in, it's actually in, I think, Ohio, right on the Michigan border. It's called the Great Lakes Retreat. And Jennifer Roberts, who is also one of your affiliates, that's her retreat. So you can contact her if you want to be involved and be a sponsor. The other retreat is in Hamilton, Missouri in October. And you could contact Marissa McCartney, the Crafty Heifer. She's in charge of that one if you want to get involved as a sponsor. I'm sure they would both love that. They're always looking for sponsors. They have door prizes, giveaways, all that good stuff. Hi, Camper 14. Okay. So the Halderson case has gotten underway for the morning. We're just waiting for these guys to get underway. I'm sorry to having to make you guys wait. I thought 9 o'clock was a good time, but apparently they're still chit-chatting. So we can talk about the current case that I've been covering. That is the case of Chandler Halderson. And some of what has been going on is it's been sort of the parade of the witnesses, the neighbors, the relatives, all of the lay witnesses. They brought in 2 police officers to say that, Chandler came to them, said his parents were missing. The night before January 1st, the night before, he said he helped them pack to go up to their cabin. They have a cabin on a lake that they go to 2 or 3 times a year. They were going to go up there for the July 4th weekend. He said that he helped them put into the car or not into the car, because he said they were going to go with another couple. They packed up some liquor, a large amount of cash, because he just assumed that his father was going to go to a casino. So he took a large amount of cash. He took a wrench, a bow saw, some saw blades, and 2 gas can containers for gas. Now, there was another relative that testified that anytime that they would go to this cabin, they had to take everything that they needed. If they wanted to clear the property or whatever their plans were to work on the property, they had to bring it with them, because whenever they would close the cabin, they would take everything out of there. So nothing was stored at the cabin. So the bow saw could have easily been explained by maybe he wanted to do some clearing off of the property. And later, when you see the brother and his girlfriend, they actually go to the lake to look for their parents. And you see the body cam footage of the officer that accompanied them. The property did need to have some work done on it. It hadn't been tended to in a while. So he helps his parents pack up the night before, and then they leave very early in the morning. He gets up and they're already gone. And their cars were still there because they went with this other couple. Now, he doesn't know who the other couple is. He never heard his father or mother mention any names. So they put on an employee of QT, which I don't know if everybody knows what QT is, but around here it's a gas station, convenience store / you can get a sandwich there. So the last time the mother was seen was on the surveillance footage at this QT on January 1st. She was getting a sandwich. Now or the day before January 1st, she was getting a sandwich. She worked that day. And then on January 2nd, she was supposed to work, and her employer said she did not show up. She had not asked for the day off. That was a Friday. She had not asked for the day off, and she doesn't show up for work. And then on Monday, when she's supposed to return from the cabin, she also does not show up for work. So people were starting to get concerned. So I did tell you that Chandler had said he had a concussion because a couple of weeks before this, he had fallen down the stairs in their home. They're doing some remodeling in their home, and he got tangled up in some of the debris and he fell down the stairs. No one saw him fall down the stairs, but he said he suffered a concussion and a head injury. So he wore a neck brace and he pretended like he couldn't walk very straight. So interesting enough that when he reports his parents missing, nobody sees him with a neck brace on. He never wears the neck brace again after his parents go missing. All the relatives say, no, we didn't see him with the neck brace on. Yeah, so interesting. Then Chandler on the 7th is the day that he reported his parents missing. On the 8th, he gets up that morning and he decides he's going to go around to all the neighbors' houses and ask if they have surveillance cameras. And a lot of them did. And a lot of them told him, hey, the police already came and got it. I don't know what purpose it served for him to do that. I have no idea. But he went to like almost every neighbor and said, hey, do you have a Ring camera? Or do you have surveillance that might have seen the street to see, what car my parents got into? I mean, like, he was really playing this up. Then the uncle took the stand. And as you recall, he had said that he was a diver for the police department. He was like on call. And if they had some kind of dive that they needed, them to go look for something, a body or something, he was a volunteer and he was part of this dive team. Well, his uncle, who's the older brother of his father, who's a former police officer, said he was a member of the dive team. He himself, the uncle, was a member of the dive team. And he had actually taught Chandler and his brother how to dive. And they had gotten certified through this uncle. But he said at no time was Chandler on any police dive team. In fact, he had explained to Chandler, in order to be on a dive team, you have to be a police officer or a firefighter or something like that. So that part of Chandler's background has crumbled. He said, oh, I'm on this dive team. Well, now we know he lied. He wasn't on a dive team. The plot thickens. Yes. Baby Cakes is here. I'm just looking. Hi, Jennifer. Jennifer and her cherry Coke. Oh my goodness. Yes. So more to come on this testimony. And the motive is starting to slowly reveal itself. All of the neighbors, all of the relatives, they all say that they believed that Chandler worked for this American Family Insurance Company. In fact, his girlfriend's mother, when he got the job, took him out for dinner to celebrate. He said he worked from home for this company, but he never got a paycheck. And when his father asked him, why didn't you get a paycheck? He had this story that there was some mix up about how much he was supposed to be making, and that he was going to, that they were straightening it out and he would be getting a large paycheck. Yeah. So another part of his story is crumbling. So I think you can see where the motive is starting to formulate here. So the testimony today, I'm expected to be the officers that actually found the body parts. So that should be interesting testimony. So that's kind of gets you caught up with everything I've seen. And unfortunately, this judge has entered an order telling the people televising this that they are not allowed to live stream anytime the jury is on a break. So anytime you turn on any of the footage, even if you want to see what the morning's footage was, you'll get a spinning wheel. And then the moderator will tell you it's not your internet. They have to do the spinning wheel because of this judge's order. So you can't even watch earlier testimony if the jury is on a break, which is so weird. So I've just kind of been watching bits and pieces, but I will try to get everything that I've missed and bring it to you on Monday. So Cheryl says he did it for back pay. Clara says parts. Yeah, parts. This is Chandler Halderson is charged with the first degree murder of his father and mother, and he is charged with mutilation of a corpse. He dismembered both of them, and we haven't gotten to that part of the testimony yet, but yeah, which is why I spent a little bit of time talking about the saw that he said his parents took up to the cabin. Yeah. Sherry says there was already some testimony from the officers that found Chandler's dad's torso. Yeah, if you're following it along, just know that, I'm trying to catch bits and pieces of it in between working, resting. I'm bringing you as much accurate information as I can. I have not watched all of it. I did mention that. But thank you for telling me, Sherry. I appreciate it. Cheryl says they charged someone for assassination of Haiti's president finally. Cheryl, what channel are you watching to have all this news? Where is this? I feel really bad that I promised you a sentencing that's just apparently not happening on time. I can't believe they're so late. Oh, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate it. Angie says they're taking Prince Andrew to court in the USA. There is one of the accusers has sued Prince Andrew, civilly. So I don't think it's criminal court. I think it's civil, which means she just wants money. And they probably will pay her some money to shut her up, I would think. I'm surprised they haven't done it already. Sidney Poitier was 94 years old and passed away. Oh, no. Hi, Melody. If you are just joining us, don't forget to hit the like button. I do apologize that this sentencing is not happening at when they said it was going to happen. Apparently, they are all in the judge's chambers having a little powwow, and we're waiting for them to come out so that we can see the sentencing. Yep. There's a lot going on in the legal world. So how are people doing with their destination paintings? Wilma, hello, hello, good morning. Wilma, when do you go back to school? When does school start again? When does school start again? I can show you where I'm at on my painting. I did a little bit of, I don't want to, I'm trying not to give the cat anything to knock over here. Since we have Alyssa here, I'll show you because I'm working on the Eiffel Tower. All right. What did I do with the, oh my goodness. Okay. Let me show you where I'm at here. We can come back to that in a sec. All right. So you can see I'm working on the Eiffel Tower. You see the gold that I used in the Eiffel Tower? And then I worked on the bottom part the other day. But I'm loving how that gold looks in the Eiffel Tower. That is so cool. But that was my plan all along, to put gold in the Eiffel Tower. Holy moly, this painting is huge. Okay, we're still waiting. Wilma's on her 8th section. Good for you, Wilma. Cheryl says it's the Golden Tower. Yes, it is. I just love the gold. It's this gold right here. It's like a gold metallic. I don't know if you guys can see that. And of course, from Diamond Painting Drills. And these are square. Now I am going to use the candlelight when I get down to these windows, which are the glass color changing ones that are round. Thank you, Alyssa. There's Pearl. Hi, Pearl. What you doing? They're playing. I'm going to take down this Christmas tree today. I'm over it. Yeah. Christmas is over. Yep. All right, guys, come on. If they're not here soon, I guess I'll just cut off the live. But I really wanted you guys to see this live today. Oh, well. The best made plans, right? The discount code is Paris. Paris. Baby Cakes, don't forget to use the link down in the description. It'll take you directly to her site, and then you can use the code Paris at checkout, and you'll save 10%. Yay! You're trying to get a good start before school starts back, going to work on cross-stitching after cleaning the house today. Last night, no, it's not Paris 10, it's just Paris. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was just hashtag Paris. What you doing, Stitch? You're messing with my camera. Stop. He said that he's into it. Yes, hashtag Paris. Yes. Thank you, Cheryl. Oh, I really need some Advil. See, Alyssa said, hashtag Paris. I'm excited because I think my January drills are in the mail, and every day I run to the mailbox and think, are they here yet? Are they here yet? I can't wait to show you the January drills. They're beautiful, the sample packs. Oh my gosh. Please use Rebecca's link in the description. Okay, come on, guys. Let's show the sentencing already. Good morning, Sean. How are you? So Baby Cakes is one of the people that did a super chat that helped me get the Dragon's Door. I was talking about that earlier. I bought the Dragon's Door. That unboxing will go up later. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm going to bling that thing. Oh, yes. Oh, Diamond Queen said her first order will be there tomorrow. Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. They all come in these beautiful packages. So what I've been doing, I know I'm off to the side, but what I've been doing is I just kind of set them here while I'm diamond painting. First of all, I have a lot more than this, but I went through and I picked out all the square ones. And then I tried to narrow it down to the ones I thought I really would use. And I just kind of leave them here. And then if I think there's an area I want to bling, I can just kind of look. And these are sample packs. If you want to replace an entire DMC number, you might need more than what's in the sample packs, which are about 600 drills.
One which imposes a mandatory life sentence for felony murder, but also with party to a crime and conspiracy. All of those laws are on the books for a very important reason, which is responsibility for your actions. And at this point, the state is asking that this court not fly in the face of the legislature, the statutes that are on the books, especially 1651, based on this particular argument that somehow Mr. Bryan is special and outside the imposition of the law. Thank you.
Any further word on that motion?
On behalf of Greg McMichael, we'd like to join that motion, but without any further argument.
They've done it by us, really.
Your Honor, I don't have to object on argument, I guess, but the idea that Mr. Bryan is asking for special treatment here is just wrong and contrary to the argument actually made. Our position is that no one in America convicted of felony murder who didn't kill or attempt to kill or intend to kill should be subjected to a mandatory life sentence. That doesn't mean that a court couldn't impose a mandatory life sentence. It means that the court should constitutionally have the discretion to impose the sentence that is appropriate, and for the legislature to dictate that these individuals, such as Mr. Bryan, the court cannot consider a sentence of less than life imprisonment is cruel and unusual, and this practice needs to stop. It's gone on since before I was born, before Your Honor was born. It was wrong then, it's wrong now, and sometime, somewhere, it has to stop. Secondly, as to Mr. Bryan individually, again, it's not suggesting that Mr. Bryan is special. It's suggesting that anyone in Mr. Bryan's circumstances, under the facts of this case, anyone besides Mr. Bryan, with the same criminal history, with the same background, with the same circumstances, that a imposition of a mandatory life sentence would likewise be disproportionate as to them. So this is not a request for special treatment. It is a request for individualized sentencing consistent with the Eighth Amendment.
All right. Again, the motion filed this morning, I did have an opportunity to review the motion. Having heard the arguments of counsel, the court denies the motion. Mr. Goff.
Our third and last formal written motion is a motion to vacate the illegal felony murder convictions based on double jeopardy. And I don't want to be accused of plagiarizing. An inmate apparently from the Michigan criminal prison system, Mr. Sires, was kind enough to draft a motion for me to file. And even went out and found Georgia case law. Your Honor, I have to confess, it doesn't quite reconcile with my memory of all of the Georgia case law. but the argument's pretty good. Mr. Bryan was acquitted of count 2, felony murder. There is only one felony murder statute. And therefore, once you've been acquitted of felony murder in count 2, double jeopardy bars conviction under counts 3, 4, and 5. The argument being that they're all different ways to commit the same offense. And we believe that under the authorities, which are not just state authorities, they're federal authorities, including Sanabria v. U.S., 437 U.S. 4, that the court should find that double jeopardy bars imposition of sentence under counts 3, 4, and 5. Independent of that, we also have an issue with respect to the jury returned a verdict not guilty as to the lesser offenses on count 7, and therefore the verdict on count 7 is repugnant with the verdict of the jury as to lesser offenses. I wouldn't know. I don't recall the court asking the jury to address the lesser offenses unless and until Mr. Bryan was found not guilty on the indicted offense of count 7. But nevertheless, the jury did return verdicts of not guilty. The state did not object to the return of those verdicts at the time. And those not guilty verdicts on those 3 lesser offenses are repugnant to the conviction on count 7. And therefore, count 7 should be set aside for that reason. And that is my motion.
From the state.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, it has been the law in the state of Georgia and commented and gone over by the Supreme Court of Georgia, especially as recently as 2015 in Duggar versus the state, Dugger versus the state, 297 Georgia 120. And similar circumstances where a defendant was found not guilty of the malice murder charge, but guilty of the felony murder charge. And he claimed double jeopardy because only one person was dead and they came back not guilty on the malice. And in this particular case, Duggar, they said, no, that's not how this works. Appellant faced a single prosecution and he received a single punishment for murdering the victim. That's the quote from this. His double jeopardy rights were therefore not violated. In addition, he wanted to argue that these were inconsistent verdicts. Once again, the court held that that is not the case.
No,
there was no inconsistency between the verdicts of guilty on felony murder and not guilty on malice murder. Now, of course, in this case, for Mr. Bryan, he's claiming, well, there was a series of felony murders. Well, the felony murders are predicated on certain underlying acts. And in this case, the jury did find him not guilty of aggravated assault with a shotgun and also not guilty of felony murder based on that aggravated assault with the shotgun. So therefore, their verdict was consistent in that manner. But they did find him guilty of aggravated assault with the pickup truck, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt at false imprisonment, and the felony murder associated with that. The state is going to, of course, argue that 2 of those felony murders will be vacated by operation of law and that Mr. Bryan will only be sentenced to 1 of the felony murder counts. And so therefore, based on Duggar as well as numerous other cases, and I believe Duggar was most recently cited in 2020 by the Strong case by the Georgia Supreme Court, that there is no sound legal basis in the state of Georgia for a double jeopardy claim, as well as
I think if we have other cases out of the same court,
numeration 22 on page 4 of Defendant Bryan's motion.
Small community. Yeah.
Finding someone not guilty of a lesser charge doesn't necessarily mean they're not guilty of a more egregious charge. So the fact that they came back not guilty on those lesser charges versus the more heavy charge does not all of a sudden mean that it's a repugnant and or inconsistent verdict. We ask that you deny the motion. Thank you.
Your Honor, as Mr. Donikowski was so kind to point out, Duggar is readily distinguished. Obviously, malice murder is one crime, felony murder is another.
Not giving it up.
Donikowski is confusing the merger concept with the double jeopardy issue. In this case, these are all felony murder counts, but they're all the same crime. So that is what distinguishes the Duggar case. And Furthermore, with respect to the lesser offenses, Your Honor, the
Hi,
jury's
Diamonds around
verdict
you.
on,
Good morning.
on the
You're
three
just in
lesser
time. We're
offenses
just
of
hearing
not
some
guilty
oral arguments on
indicates that the
a
jury
minor
concluded that an
motion,
element
and then
of
we'll
the
get to the
offense, the
sentencing.
greater offense, was missing.
It was
The verdicts
delayed by
are
about
repugnant.
45 minutes.
I would submit they're repugnant as a matter of law, and that therefore the court must vacate count 7 as to Mr.
I
Bryan.
just think I'm getting paid not to roll my eyes.
And that doesn't mean that there won't be 2 other felony murder counts left. It may be an academic discussion, but nevertheless, we're asking the court to vacate the conviction under count 7 as repugnant with the 3 misdemeanor counts and impose sentence on the misdemeanor count only.
Again, as previously indicated, the court received the motion this morning. I did take a look through the motion. We've taken a look at Duggar, cases cited by the state, and the court denies the motion. I understand you've got one oral motion.
Yes, Your Honor. And I appreciate the court's patience.
Oh my God, he's got another one?
Your Honor, we are making an additional constitutional challenges to Georgia's sentencing scheme with respect to the imposition of a sentence of life
Hi,
without the
Shawana.
possibility of
Good
parole.
morning.
And again, as I think prosecutors
Oh, diamonds
suggested
around you, you're
many
buried
years
in
ago,
snow. Let's see, what else do you have to do?
a lot of the
Watch the
sentencing
sentencing, right?
jurisprudence and criminal law jurisprudence began in death penalty cases with the theory that death is different. Well, I think the evolving case law over the
Diamonds around
last
you, they have
several
been found
decades
guilty.
has
Today is
demonstrated
the
that death is
sentencing.
really
This
not so very
is
different
the lawyer
after
for
all.
Mr. Bryan,
We would
the
assert 8th and
gentleman
5th Amendment
that
challenges to
was
Georgia's
filming
sentencing scheme,
the criminal
which
acts.
rightly gives
He
judges
also
broad
tried to take
discretion
his truck
in
and
determining
run
sentences,
Ahmaud Arbery
but
off
with
the
respect
road.
to life
He
without
was
parole,
found guilty
that
of felony
discretion
murder
is
associated with
effectively
those
unguided,
acts where he tried to run him off
as
the road.
opposed to the sentencing
false
scheme
imprisonment.
death penalty case for determining the imposition of the death penalty.
So his lawyer is
Besides being
making
cruel,
every
the
attempt
sentencing
he
scheme
can
also violates
to
due
get
process, and that the
these felony murder
statutes
charges
fail to provide
reduced or get a
sufficient
reduced
guidance to the
sentence.
trial court. And therefore,
And
Georgia's
it's not
sentencing
working.
scheme is hopelessly ambiguous as well as arbitrary and capricious. Moreover, without any required findings of fact or conclusions
Just as
of
my
law,
client gets here in 7
there
minutes.
is nothing
Sit
for an
down.
appellate court to review to
Well,
determine whether
if you
a
have to go
sentence
back
of
and
life
watch the
without
replay,
parole
you know you're
has
about
been
an hour
lawfully imposed.
into the
Furthermore, we
the
assert
video
a Sixth
before you get
Amendment
to the actual
challenge.
sentencing. I'll put
Which
some
I would call
timestamps
an
here
apprendi
when
challenge,
I
although it's
after
not
the
actually
video
authority. That any
renders.
facts that increase a
For
mandatory
anybody that
minimum
wants to watch
sentence
back
must
on
be
replay.
set, which in this case would be life without parole as opposed to a life sentence. That any fact that increases a mandatory minimum sentence must be submitted to a jury and found true beyond a reasonable doubt. And I cite Olen v. U.S. ALLEYNE 133 S. Court 2151 2013. Blakely v. Washington, BLAKELY v. Washington, 542 U.S. 296, 2004. Your Honor, the jury acquitted as to counts 2 and 6. With count 7, it is impossible to determine what facts the jury found in this case because the state elected to pack so much into count 7. You've got parties to the crime.
You're welcome,
You've got
Jen. No
principals to the
problem.
crime.
I can
You've got
timestamp
the McMichael's
everything.
pickup truck. You've got Mr. Bryan's pickup truck. And you've got whether it's an intent to injure
Meanwhile,
or whether
I'm
it's
supposed to be
placing
at work.
Mr. Arbery in reasonable apprehension of receiving an injury. There's so
I'm just
many
gonna make sure I
different
don't have any
theories that the
emails
jury
I
could
need
have
to
returned a
urgently
verdict on
respond to.
that there's no way to draw any findings, meaningful findings of fact for sentencing purposes from the verdict that the jury rendered. And therefore, under these circumstances, there's nothing here for which the court could find a jury-found basis for imposing the sentence that the state is seeking in this
Nope.
case. Thank
Nothing urgent.
On behalf of Greg McMichael, we'd like to join that motion.
Noted for the record from the state.
Of course, the state's at a bit of a disadvantage, just having heard the motion, as is the court. However, the state's position at this point in time is this is a legislature issue. The legislature has passed 1651, and it is a mandatory life sentence. The court does have discretion between life or life without the possibility of parole. the complaint here, it sounds like, is, well, there's an 8th Amendment violation, a 5th Amendment violation, a 6th Amendment violation because there's no guidance to the court. However, as this court is aware, the Supreme Court of Georgia has given Superior Court judges great deference because this court has heard the evidence. This court has seen the demeanor of the defendants, especially in this particular case, the demeanor of Travis McMichael as he testified. This court has seen the evidence from the witnesses on the stand and the body cam video of what took place. So in this case, the court is going to be given and has received the evidence in this case for its review to inform it and its discretion as to whether to impose a life sentence or a life sentence without the possibility of parole. I believe the next step in this process, of course, is going to be the state presenting victim impact and then argument. The defense will present its argument, all of which also informs this court and allows it to use its broad discretion and judgment as to whether to impose a life sentence or a life sentence without the possibility of parole. So we ask that you deny this motion.
Nikki, they are facing civil rights violations in federal courts. So the hate crime stuff will come up in federal court.
The Constitution is not up for discussion or negotiation. The Constitution is what it is. The 5th, 6th, and 8th Amendments to the United States Constitution are the federal provisions at play here, in addition to the parallel provisions of our Georgia state constitution. Legislators are politicians. They have to run for election, and they do what they think they need to do. And the job of the judiciary as the independent third branch of government is to put a check on that action when it violates our state and federal constitutions. So simply saying that it is a legislative issue doesn't address the question. And ultimately, it is for our courts to defend that Your Honor and the courts above you are the ultimate guardians of our state and federal constitutions and of the individual rights of individuals. And to simply say, or maybe that wasn't the suggestion, but one could interpret it that way, that the courts should simply defer to the legislature as to what the Constitution means.
And his mouth got him into trouble during the trial, and now he just can't seem to shut it. You can see the lawyers next to him just like, wanting to roll their eyes. I'm sure the judge is trying not to roll his eyes.
Hear the argument quite that way where the court has to defer to the legislature. There is a structure in place with regard to sentencing, and this court intends to adhere to that structure as established through Georgia case law. On that basis, the motion is denied.
Denied. Okay, please.
Those are all preliminary matters. And before the court, is the state ready to proceed with, and the way we're going to do it, as I understand it, is the state is going to present any evidence it has in aggravation as well as a opening argument. The defense is then going to have an opportunity each individually to present any evidence in mitigation if they wish to do so and make argument, with the state then having the rebuttal. That's how I understand we're going to proceed. From the state.
Your Honor, for the record, today is Friday, January 7th, 2022. The jury returned its verdict on November 24th, 2021. That verdict was that Travis McMichael was found guilty on all 9 counts in the indictment. Greg McMichael was found not guilty of count 1, which is malice murder, but guilty on the other counts 2 through 9 in the indictment. Mr. Bryan was found guilty only as to counts 3, 4, and 5, all felony murder counts, and the underlying felonies corresponding to those felony murder counts, which were counts 7, 8, and 9.
Cheryl, you're right.
The court asked all of us to look into, with regard to Travis McMichael, the issue of potential merger as to the malice murder charge. The state has reviewed its own indictment and notes that it charged Travis McMichael, who was found guilty of count 1, malice murder, a human being did unlawfully, with malice aforethought, cause the death of Ahmaud Arbery, a human being, by unlawfully chasing him through the public roadways of the Satilla Shores neighborhood in pickup trucks and shooting him with a shotgun, contrary to the laws of said state, the good order, peace, and dignity thereof. As the state notes, this encompasses two different actions. Unlawfully chasing him through the public roadways of Satilla Shores, which describes the actions they did in the pickup trucks, and then shooting him with a shotgun. As the court will recall, defense filed a demurrer to count 1, saying this was surplusage and should be removed. The state's argument was that the state was not going to argue it was an either-or situation, and that is not going to be the state's argument here. The state's argument here is that factually, the state believes that count 8, false imprisonment, factually has been eaten up by the way the state charged count 1 in this indictment. In other words, count 8 and count 6 would merge into count 1 for Travis McMichael on the malice murder charge because of unlawfully chasing him, meaning Mr. Arbery, through the public roadways of the Satilla Shores neighborhood in pickup trucks. The reason we believe that that factually would merge is because count 8 is actually the false imprisonment charge. And count 8 does say, said accused did chase Mr. Arbery with a Ford F1 pickup truck and a Chevy Silverado pickup truck through the public roadways of the Satilla Shores neighborhood and did confine and detain Ahmaud Arbery. As the court is aware, the statute has nothing to do with chasing. That is descriptive language factually. The statute has to do with confining and detaining the victim. The fact that the state used up factually both the chasing in count 8 and the chasing in count 1 means both count 6 and 8 would then merge into count 1. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I will address this, that the defense may argue that count 7 and count 9 would also then merge into count 1 malice murder. However, the state's argument is that is not the case. The reason for that is count 7 is the aggravated assault with the pickup trucks. Did make an assault upon the person of Ahmaud Arbery with a Ford F-150 pickup truck and a Chevy Silverado pickup truck. An object, device, or instrument, when used offensively against a person, is likely to result in serious bodily injury. That, of course, factually can be a number of different things. And what the state did argue in closing argument was pulling up next to somebody, startling them, could put them in reasonable apprehension of receiving serious bodily injury. The state also argued in its closing argument that Travis McMichael, despite his testimony, actually used his pickup truck to pull in front of Mr. Arbery and cut him off, which caused Mr. Arbery on Burford to turn around and run away. So the fact that the jury found that they used their pickup trucks, objects which used defensively against a person are likely to result in serious bodily injury, did create an aggravated assault for Mr. Arbery, does not merge into count 1, which was unlawfully chasing him through the public roadways of Satilla Shores in pickup trucks. They are two separate and distinct things, especially when we have video evidence of the McMichaels pulling up next to Mr. Arbery then running away. That itself right there is an aggravated assault. He was obviously startled. He obviously was trying to get away from these men. They pulled up next to him. Reasonable apprehension of receiving serious bodily injury. With regard then to count 9, count 9 is criminal attempt to commit the felony of false imprisonment. As the court will recall, the defense also demurred to that particular charge in the indictment. That particular charge in the indictment did have an "and" in it, which, as the court knows, is an "or," which the state explained in its closing argument to the jury.
Sorry.
In this particular count 9, it did charge the defendants with unlawfully chasing, or did unlawfully chase Ahmaud Arbery through the public roadways of the Satilla Shores neighborhood in pickup trucks, and did attempt to confine and detain Ahmaud Arbery without legal authority on Burford Drive, using a Ford F-150 pickup truck. In this particular instance, the state did argue and did inform the court in the demurrer response that it was going to argue "and" or, because as we know, a criminal attempt is just a substantial step toward committing that particular felony. And as the court will note, count 8 took place on Holmes Drive, whereas count 9 was on Burford. So they don't have anything to do with each other. They're two separate incidents at two separate points in time based on the evidence in this case. So either one could be considered a substantial step, and because the "and" in between unlawfully chase and did attempt to confine and detain is really an or for the purposes of this. And once again, the state put that in its response to demur by the defendants, and the court denied the demur. That was filed by the defendants. The state also argued in closing argument that that was an or. They could find it that he was chased. They could also find that on Burford they did attempt to confine and detain him, especially with Mr. Bryan's actions of trying to run him off the roadway from his driveway, and with Mr. McMichael's actions of cutting him off at the end of Burford. So in this particular instance, especially with the criminal attempt, it does not merge into malice murder simply because of the words "did unlawfully chase him through the public roadways" contained in count 1. Therefore, when it comes to Mr. Travis McMichael, the state's position on sentencing and murder is this: that he is looking at a life sentence on count 1, malice murder, that counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, all felony murder, would be vacated by operation of law. Count 6, which is the aggravated assault with the shotgun charge, would factually merge into count 1. Count 7 would remain standing. And count 7 is a potential sentence of 1 to 20 years on the aggravated assault with the pickup trucks. Count 8, in the state's opinion, would factually merge then into count 1. False imprisonment, of course, is a 1 to 10 potential sentence. And count 9, criminal attempt, cuts that sentence in half. So count 9, criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment, is a potential of 1 to 5 years. Therefore, the minimum sentence that this court could impose on Travis McMichael would be life with the possibility of parole with 15 years, and that court could suspend, probate, run concurrent with that particular sentence. The maximum, and that is what the state is asking for in this case, is a life without the possibility of parole. The state did file its notice of its intent to seek life without the possibility of parole back in 2020 when this case was first indicted. So the state is seeking life without the possibility of parole as to count 1. Counts 2 through 5 are vacated by operation of law. Count 6 would merge into count 1, leaving then count 7 and 9, which would be 25 years. We are asking that that 25 years be a 25-year sentence, but to be run concurrent if the court chose to impose a life without the possibility of parole sentence. And that would be count 7 concurrent with count 1.
Parole or not. He has no
20 years to serve. Count 9 concurrent with count 1 consecutive to count 7, thus making it a total of 25 years running concurrent with the life without the possibility of parole sentence on count 1 for Travis McMichael. And that is what the state will be requesting and seeking. With regard to Greg McMichael, he was found not guilty on count 1, malice murder. He was then found guilty of counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, all felony murder. The state is seeking, therefore, a life without the possibility of parole sentence on count 2, which is felony murder, based on count 6, which is the aggravated assault with the shotgun. Counts 3, 4, and 5 would be vacated by operation of law. Count 6 would merge in to count 2, the felony murder. In this particular case, that felony murder only alleges did cause the death of Ahmaud Arbery based on the aggravated assault with the shotgun, so we do not have the same issue with language of chasing in count 2 of this indictment. This would, of course, leave count 7, count 8, and count 9 available for sentencing. Count 7 is aggravated assault with the pickup trucks. That's a potential 1 to 20-year sentence. Count 8, false imprisonment on Holmes Drive, a 1 to 10-year sentence. Count 9, criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment, a 1 to 5-year sentence. So the minimum Greg McMichael is looking at is life with the possibility of parole and 35 years. That 35 years can be run concurrent, it can be probated, it can be suspended. The maximum Mr. McMichael is looking at, Mr. Greg McMichael is looking at, is count 2. The state is going to be asking for life without the possibility of parole. Counts 3, 4, and 5 are vacated by operation of law. Count 6 would merge into that life without the possibility of parole sentence, and the additional 35 years to be run concurrent. consecutive, meaning count 7 concurrent with count 2, 20 years to serve. Count
oh my
8
God, this is
concurrent
forever.
to count 2, consecutive to count 7.
And then we got to hear from
9,
each one of the
5
defendant
years
lawyers. I didn't think
serve,
this through when I went
concurrent with
live,
count
right?
2, consecutive
We didn't
to
expect
count
a
8,
45-minute
resulting in a
delay.
35-year sentence to be run concurrently with the life without the possibility of parole sentence on count 2. With regard to Mr. Bryan, Mr. Bryan was found not guilty of counts 1 and 2. He was, however, found guilty of the 3 felony murder counts, count 3, 4, and 5, based on aggravated assault with a pickup truck, false imprisonment, and criminal attempt at false imprisonment. The state is looking at a life sentence on count 3. Counts 4 and 5 would be vacated by operation of law. He was found not guilty on count 6. Therefore, count 7, the aggravated assault with the pickup truck, would merge into count 3, because
Right.
count 3 is the felony
Sure,
murder
you're
based
right.
upon count 7. So count 7 would merge into count 3. Count 8, false imprisonment, potential 1 to 10 year sentence, and count 9, a potential 1 to 5 year sentence. Therefore, the minimum Mr. Bryan is looking at is a life with the possibility of parole sentence, plus an additional 15 years, which once again can be run concurrent, it can be run consecutive, it could be probated and or suspended. In this particular case, the state is going to make a recommendation for Mr. Bryan of life with the possibility of parole on count 3, with 15 years to serve consecutively on probation. And that is going to be our recommendation for Mr. Bryan. Your Honor, at this time, the state will go ahead and present its victim impact evidence for the court's consideration.
Finally,
and then once that's through,
get to the
we will
good
make
stuff.
our argument. Thank you. We're going to present Mr. Marcus Arbery.
I do want to make a point before we get into the victim impact statements, and not to imply that this would go any other way, but I do want to make sure that those that are addressing the court address the court, as opposed to anybody else in the gallery. So let's go ahead and proceed.
Sure.
Good morning. How y'all doing? Right. It's a hard time, man, my family. You know, something that I just doesn't sit right with me at this time. The man who killed my son has sat in this courtroom every single day next to his father. I'll never get that chance to sit next to my son ever again. Not at a dinner table, not at a holiday. And not at a wedding. He'll never get to have I pray that no one in this courtroom
I agree
ever
with you, Sean.
has to do what we had did, that buried their child. There's no word for that, because no word knows that much pain. Not only did they lynch my son in broad daylight, but they killed him while he was doing what he loved than anything, running. That's when he felt most alive, most free. And they took all that from him. When I close my eyes, I see his execution in my mind over and over. I'll see that for the rest of my life. When I became a father, my life became bigger than me. It became about my family, about protecting him, protecting my boy. I know in my head that There's nothing I could have done that day to have saved my son, to have protected him from that evil and hate. But my heart is broken and always will be broken because on my worst day or our lives wasn't there. If I could, I have traded places with Amara in a heartbeat, but I can't. So I'm standing here today to do what he can't, and that is to fight for him, fight for his memories, his legacy, and to tell you who he was, because that's the one thing you didn't hear in this courtroom, and more than anything else, you should know who my boy was. We love our son and we will never have him with us to celebrate anything. Thanksgiving, Christmas, or his birthday. His kids should spend the rest of their lives thinking about what they did and what they took from us. And they should do it from behind bars. Because me and my family, we got to live with his death the rest of our life. We'll never see him all again. So I feel they should stay behind them bars the rest of their life because they didn't give him a chance. Thank the court. Thank y'all for what y'all did for our family football. Thank the jury. I give all glory to God. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Army.
Short and sweet. And to the point.
Ms. Jasmine Aubrey.
Good morning. My name is Jasmine Aubrey. Ahmad is my brother, and I would like to tell you a little about him. Ahmad had dark skin that glistened in the sunlight like gold. He had thick, curly hair, and he would often like to twist it. Ahmad had a broad nose, and the color of his eyes was filled with melanin. He was tall with an athletic build. He enjoyed running and had an appreciation for being outdoors. These are the qualities that made these men assume that Ahmad was a dangerous criminal and chase him with guns drawn. To me, those qualities reflected a young man full of life and energy, who looked like me and the people I love. Ahmad was funny. He told jokes to lighten the mood because he was a positive thinker. Ahmad had a big personality and never missed an opportunity to let it shine. Ahmad had a future that was taken from him in an instance of violence. He was robbed of his life pleasures, big and small. He would never be able to fulfill his professional dreams, nor would he be able to start a family or even be a part of my daughter's life. The loss of Ahmad has devastated me and my family. So I'm asking that the men that killed him be given the maximum sentence available to the court. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's sad. But well said.
I want to first speak directly to my son, if I please. This verdict doesn't bring you back, but it does help bring closure to this very difficult chapter of my life. I made a promise to you. Today, I laid you to rest. I told you I love you, and someday, somehow, I will get you justice. Son, I love you as much today as I did today that you were born. Raising you was the honor of my life, and I'm very proud of you. Your Honor, these men have chose to lie and attack my son and his surviving family. They each have no remorse and do not deserve any leniency. This wasn't a case of mistaken identity or mistaken fact. They chose to target my son because they didn't want him in their community.
True.
They chose to treat him differently than other people who frequently visited their community. And when they couldn't sufficiently scare him or intimidate him, they killed him. My youngest son, he was born on Mother's Day of 1994. He had a smile so bright it lit up a room. He was a greedy baby that seemed like he was always searching for something to stick into his mouth. He was always a loving baby who seemed to never tire of hugs, cuddling, and kisses. He loved, he never hesitated to tell me, his sister Jasmine, and his brother Marcus that he loved us. And Your Honor, we loved him back. He was messy. He sometimes refused to wear socks or take good care of his good clothing. I wish he would have cut and cleaned his toenails before he went out for that jog that day.
Oh my God.
I guess he would have if he knew he would be murdered. My family's gonna miss Ahmad. We're going to miss his jokes,
That's pretty.
his impersonations, his warm smile.
There was an autopsy photo with his toenails that someone made a big deal out of during one of their. It's terrible.
These men deserve the maximum sentence for their crimes. Ahmad never said a word to them. He never threatened them. He just wanted to be left alone. They were fully committed to their crimes. Let them be fully committed for the consequences. Your Honor, I'm standing here for you as the mother of Ahmaud Arbery, asking you to please give all three defendants who are responsible for the death of my son the maximum punishment in this court, which I do believe is life behind bars without the possible chance for parole. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any additional evidence and aggravation from the state?
No more additional evidence from the state, Your Honor.
Argument?
Your Honor, the state is seeking life without the possibility of parole for the McMichaels based primarily on the evidence presented in this case. The state is not going to go through all of that evidence, just a few very important items. First off, there was a demonstrated pattern of vigilantism by Greg and Travis McMichael. First off, we have our July 13th, 2019 911 call after both of them went with guns to confront a homeless man who was living under the bridge, who they suspected must have been committing all of these crimes. Of course, all of these crimes included a lot of reports to 911 about suspicious persons, and as we heard from the witness stand and defense witnesses, a couple of unlocked cars with things stolen out of them by people outside the neighborhood. And then we have February 11th, 2020. Yes, Ahmaud went inside of the open, unsecured construction site that particular day. But Travis McMichael went home, got his father, they both got their guns, and then they went back down to that construction site. We know that because we heard the 911 call. And he says, I'm sitting outside the construction site. He talks about seeing somebody inside with a flashlight. The horrible part is we know from Brooke Perez, who testified for the defendants, that her husband had gotten a call from Larry English.
I do remember
and he'd
that,
gone
yeah,
over there with his handgun. We also know that the two men went inside with their handguns. It's a miracle they didn't shoot each other. And no one had called the police. Travis is outside in the pickup truck, finally calling the police. He stays on for about 4 minutes, and then Officer Ash appears. That didn't teach anybody here a lesson at all. Brooke Perez was trying to tell them, no, my husband's over there with a gun. Be careful, go in there. But Greg McMichael took off, according to Travis's statement, down the street and went right into that house. So we've got July 2019, February 11th, 2020. Not calling 911 first, not staying home, but wanting to seek out, in a vigilante manner, a confrontation with people that they suspect might be doing something that they themselves, up until January 1st of 2020, had not been the victim of.
True.
In all cases, they took firearms with them, did not stay home, did not allow the police to do their job, but instead, as on February 11th, Greg McMichael went in and started searching the house himself. We all know how that could have turned out terribly for him, for anyone in there, and for Diego Perez. All the decisions they made that led up to the death of Ahmaud Arbery. There were so many opportunities to stop, to think. And here's the real problem. Greg McMichael was former law enforcement, as they pointed out repeatedly. And Travis McMichael had served in the Marines. I'm not the Marines, the Coast Guard, as they pointed out repeatedly. So here we have some men who should have known better.
Then the defense will have a chance to
should have known better.
Any of the defendants will be able
Vigilantism
to speak if they
always
want
goes
to.
wrong.
They can address the court. I doubt
you wait for the professionals to show up.
And
the professionals who are in marked cars. The professionals who are in uniforms.
Lawyers may have
the professionals who are going to do it right because they have something to lose.
Mr. Bryan's lawyer, who always has
the professionals with body cams.
And then there will be the sentencing. We've already heard the impact.
The professionals such as Officer Rash, who just would have stopped Mr. Arbery and said, hey, I'm going to put you on the phone with Larry English so Larry English can tell you to please not to come back.
If there's a particular part that you didn't catch that you want
and they should have known that.
I'll make sure everything's timestamped. Hi, Nancy. How are you? We're just watching.
They had alternatives.
Sentencing.
They had choices. But instead, Travis McMichael, who stated he was putting his son Everett down for a nap, who stated that his father had all these medical and health problems, didn't say, no, Dad, I'm putting Everett down. No, Dad, you need to stay here. He grabbed his shotgun, which he stated was propped up in a corner in that house. to go with his father, and Greg McMichael was willing to get into that pickup truck and sit in a child's seat to go chase after Mr. Arbery.
True.
Greg McMichael attempted to control the narrative from the get-go at the scene. His statements were all about how they were justified, how it was self-defense, how Mr. Arbery attacked his son. When the unknown man came up to Greg McMichael at the scene, because of course the police hadn't put Mr. McMichael anywhere, told him not to talk to anybody. He was running around the scene talking to everybody. And when talking to this unknown man who walked up to give him water, he basically said, no, this guy's an asshole. He is 20 feet from Mr. Arbery's body, referring to Mr. Arbery as an asshole. There's been no remorse shown, and certainly no empathy from either man. Because empathy would have said, hey, how must this look to this person that we're chasing? Are we terrifying this person? Are we scaring them? No empathy for the trapped and terrified Ahmaud Arbery.
Again, if you're just coming in, you did miss quite a bit.
There was thoughtlessness as to the consequences.
The morning show first, as we were waiting for the first
thoughtlessness as to the alternatives
before they got to the meat of the hearing. I will timestamp everything so you can go back and watch what you missed.
There was vigilantism.
But thank you for coming, everybody.
And because of that, we are asking for Travis McMichael and Greg McMichael to be sentenced to life with the possibility of parole. Travis McMichael on count 1, malice murder. Greg McMichael on felony murder count 2, with the prior sentences or the underlying charges to run concurrent consecutive per the state's prior statement.
Oh, Janie got her package. Yay.
The state is going to guess that the defense will probably say that these men served their country, they served the community. Travis in the Coast Guard, Greg McMichael at the district attorney's office. But we all know it is not the 99 things you do right, not the 99 good deeds that you do. But when you take another person's life, it can't be undone. It can't be taken back. There is no do-over. It's final. And that means caution must prevail. Thoughtfulness, empathy, and insight must prevail, not vigilantism. With regard to Mr. Bryan, his actions speak for themselves. He contributed to the death of Ahmaud Arbery in a significant way. The court is familiar with his actions. The court is familiar with his statements, with his level of cooperation with Agent Seacrest afterwards. And given his actions and statements in this case, the state is asking for a life with the possibility of parole sentence. And that would be on count 3 with 15 years consecutive on probation for Mr. Bryan. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. Mr. Rubin.
Thank you. Your Honor, for 150 years, judges in cases in which defendants were convicted of murder were authorized to impose a life sentence. That was the only sentence available. In 2009, the legislature expanded the judge's discretion and now allows a judge to impose both a life sentence with the possibility of parole and a life sentence without the possibility of parole, and gives absolutely, as Mr. Goff pointed out, no guidance to the court as to what factors to take into account when differentiating between people convicted of murder. But I know this court, Your Honor, has been on the bench long enough and has tried a number of cases, including murder cases, in which you've had to make those decisions. And you've had to differentiate between defendants and be consistent in your rulings, in your sentencing, probably the hardest thing any court has to do, which is to sentence a person to time in prison. In this case, in which the state is seeking the harshest possible sentence allowable under the law, we're asking the court to reserve the harshest possible sentence under the law for those who deserve it, for the worst of the worst. When the facts of the crime show a darkness of soul, a person so depraved and heinous as to shock the conscience by their actions, or where the offender is such a danger as evidenced by his past conduct, or by his actions post-offense, such that rehabilitation is remote or impossible, those are the offenders who deserve the harshest possible punishment under the law. Those are the offenders who people would argue deserve to spend the rest of their lives in prison. Neither of those scenarios encompasses Travis McMichael or the conduct for which he was convicted. And like Ms. Donikoski, I want to spend just a couple minutes reviewing the conduct for which he was convicted, because I agree with something she said, maybe for the first time in this trial. When Travis McMichael woke up on that Sunday morning with his son Everett in his house, his goal was not to go out and kill somebody. His goal was to play with his kid. When he sat down for lunch with Everett, possibly with Greg and his mom, Lee, and sister Lindsay, his goal was not to commit a crime that day or kill somebody that day. His goal was to have a family afternoon. And when he was putting his son down at 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon, he was doing what every single person wants to and should be doing, which is taking care of their toddler son. When he got in the truck at his father's behest to find out who that person was sprinting down the road, his goal still was not to commit a crime. His goal still was not to hurt that person, but to merely investigate, to find out what was that guy doing back at the house where Matt Albanese.
So why did he need to take a rifle with him?
And then 4 minutes later, Mr. Arbery's dead. Mr. McMichael's covered in blood. And we have what we have here.
Wouldn't be my first thought.
And he was convicted. The jury found that his actions constituted malice murder, felony murder, and the underlying felonies. But this is not a case in which he just targeted someone recklessly, targeted someone without knowledge, misidentified someone. He knew Ahmaud Arbery. He had encountered him previously. And he had known about the fears that the neighbors felt at Mr. Arbery's continued presence. I'm not going to retry the case. The jury found that those facts did not add up to probable cause and did not justify Mr. McMichael's actions. But he didn't just go out and shoot Mr. Arbery. He only fired the shots, the fatal shots, when Mr. Arbery came at him and grabbed the gun, as Dr. Donahue demonstrated. These were not, and as reckless as those acts may have been, as Ms. Donikoski pointed out, as thoughtless as they may have been, they are not evidence of a soul so blackened as to deserve to spend the rest of his life in prison. This was not a planned murder. This was not a murder involving torture. It was a fight over a gun that resulted in Mr. Arbery's death. And for that, the jury found Mr. McMichael guilty.
Gun? What?
The state contends that 99 good acts don't overcome one bad act. And of course, legally that's true. Mr. McMichael is now a convicted felon. But 99 good acts do weigh in this court's consideration, do factor into what choice this court is going to make when sentencing Mr. McMichael to either spend the rest of his life behind bars or
see, I wouldn't have even called the police. I would have told his dad to calm the heck down and just mind his own business. Hey, come play with your grandson.
And those acts,
I wouldn't have gone into
those 99 good acts,
got a rifle.
The court heard about those in the bond hearing. The court heard that during his time as a lifeguard at a camp for kids who who have family members with terminal illnesses that Travis McMichael actually saved the life of a boy who was drowning in the pool. The court heard that Mr. McMichael, while serving in the Coast Guard, literally saved the lives of family members who were on a boat that was taking on water. The court heard that Mr. McMichael saved the crew of a Coast Guard vessel while serving in the Coast Guard. The court heard of the letters of commendation given to Mr. McMichael by his superiors for various acts that the superiors said show superior dedication, selfless devotion to duty and consideration of others, and adherence to our core values, honor, respect, and devotion to duty. They don't excuse anything that happened on February 23rd, but when the court is weighing in the scales of justice what people deserve to spend their lives and then die in prison versus those people who deserve to be punished but then hold out hope for redemption, those are the acts the court should consider. Mr. McMichael was a devoted father to Everett. He had Everett 50% of the time, shared custody with Everett's mom, and in fact, early on was shown to be the more reliable parent, although I know that changed over time with his mom stepping up. He was a friend to many people who are now too scared to come to court and speak on his behalf. As the court knows from the testimony it heard in the trial and at the bond hearing, he was always a hard worker, always had a job, never laid around letting other people support him, always paid taxes, always supported his community in a variety of ways. The discovery that we received is replete with FBI and GBI interviews of people in his community, people who told law enforcement officials of the times Mr. McMichael helped them when they were having problems, when their boat became unmoored, or when their docks were pulled off from storms, and Mr. McMichael was out there finding those things and bringing them back to the owners or helping other people in the community, just as he thought he was doing on February 23rd. Actions that, in hindsight, turned out to be thoughtless, as Ms. Stonikoski said, or reckless, but were not evidence of an abandoned and malignant heart. Nothing in Travis McMichael's life suggests that he's a danger to society now, or will be a danger to society 30 years from now. After he has time to think, to work, to grow, when he's in his 60s, older than me right now, do we still want a person like Travis McMichael behind bars? There's nothing in his post-offense conduct that shows that he's either mentally unstable or a sociopath. He cooperated fully with police. He told the police everything he knew to tell them because he thought he was doing the right thing, even if that thing turned out not to be right. He and Greg McMichael thought they were helping their community. They thought they were helping the police catch someone who inexplicably had been in a house, and we still don't know what he was doing in the house, on 4 or 5 different occasions. He never fled. He never tried to obstruct the investigation. When he talked to his neighbors about what happened, he always expressed remorse and disbelief. If life without parole is reserved for the worst of offenders, those who are so scary, so unpredictable, and so likely to pose a threat in the future, then it is not appropriate for someone like Travis McMichael. The only purpose of a life without parole sentence, Your Honor, is vengeance. It's retribution. And the urge to seek vengeance is strong and understandable in the family. Lord knows if I was in their position, I would be seeking the same thing. But vengeance is not the foundation of our sentencing. Cheryl. in our criminal
This
justice
guy had
system.
not committed any
Redemption is.
crimes that they were aware of. None. They had been told by the
Redemption
police
is
that
the
he
belief that a
hadn't
person
committed any
can learn,
crimes.
can grow, and still contribute after punishment. It is pointless to continue to punish a person who has undergone changes in character that distance him from the person who committed the crime decades previously.
So is he no longer a bigot? Is that what he's
Travis
saying? He's
McMichael,
no longer going to
35 years old now, should have the opportunity
I don't know
to
about
show
that.
that he's grown,
I don't think there's
to show that he's
society
changed, and the parole
of
board,
people that
years from now,
are bigots. I just
is in the
don't.
best position to determine whether he should
Your
remain
first
behind bars
instinct is to go run and get a
or
rifle
can
to chase
serve
the
a
black
useful
man.
purpose to
No,
society.
sorry.
Who knows where we will be as a society in 30 years? Why make a decision today that impacts so many people long after we're gone, long after you and I are retired, hopefully, but that binds the hands of those who will have to live with this decision 3 decades hence? Why make a decision today that snuffs out all possibility of growth, of redemption in Travis McMichael? Compassion for Travis McMichael and the humility to admit that we don't know what's going to happen in the future doesn't diminish the compassion that we feel for Ahmaud Arbery's family. Their loss is real and understandable, and their desire for the maximum punishment is real and understandable. But again, that's why we have judges imposing sentence and not the families of the victim. Because there are a lot of factors this court takes into consideration: deterrence, rehabilitation, retribution. Those are all valid factors. But the only thing an LWOP sentence serves is retribution. Wouldn't it be healing for Mr. Arbery's family, for Travis McMichael to atone, to be able to express the remorse that's in his heart without the specter of a federal trial hanging over his head? We've heard several times today that he's shown no remorse, but this court knows that no lawyer would allow Mr. McMichael to say anything about his feelings towards the family while there were 2 pending murder trials against him. When the witnesses were interviewed by law enforcement about Mr. McMichael's conversations with them, to a person they said that he showed remorse, that he never wanted to kill somebody. He was merely trying to detain Mr. Arbery for the police. It is disingenuous and unfair to expect Mr. McMichael to express remorse with yet another trial beginning in 3 weeks,
I will be right back, guys.
where everything he says can be used by the federal government against him. Wouldn't it be powerful, though, for Travis McMichael to look deep into himself and explore with the public, with his son Everett, why he did what he did, and in fact become a force for good while in prison and out, instead of one more old man behind bars costing taxpayers $50,000 a year or more in 30 years? Wouldn't it be healing to society for someone like Travis McMichael to be free to help heal the wounds that are certainly present in this country due to decades and decades and decades of discrimination, of racism? Wounds that we're just now beginning to try to heal. Judge, you can send a message that 4 minutes of conduct does not erase a life well lived, and that after punishment there is opportunity for redemption, an opportunity that Travis can either take advantage of and prove himself worthy or not, and that the parole board can then determine whether he should be released from prison. We are not asking you to do anything, Your Honor, but to agree that we don't know today what the future holds. We're asking you to sentence him to life with the possibility of parole if it's earned. regard to sentencing, I disagree with the state. I believe count 7 and count 9 do merge. I believe the language of chasing Mr. Arbery through the Satilla Shores neighborhood that is stated in count 1 and also stated in counts 7 and 9 were used up, were subsumed, and would be therefore would effectuate a merger of those crimes. In either event, this court has wide discretion in how it fashions this sentence, and we'd ask the court to exercise this discretion in favor of growth, in favor of redemption, in favor of hope, for not just the McMichael family, for not just Everett McMichael, but for the Arbery family and what Travis McMichael can prove himself worthy of in the future. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, I think we're probably at a good breaking point. Let's go ahead and take a break, let everybody get some lunch. We will plan on reconvening.
Are you kidding me?
Let's do 1 o'clock.
Lunch?
It's just before 12 o'clock now, and we will continue proceedings at that time. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. Okay, so it is noon where they're at now, so they're all going to lunch. I'm going to go ahead and end the live. Sorry, guys, this did not turn out the way I had planned. Show of hands if you want me to come back at 1 o'clock for the rest of the sentencing. Let me know what you want me to do. I can cut the live off now and do a part 2 at 1, which will be noon Central Time. Let me know if that's something that you want. Show of hands, put an emoji up if you want me to come back at 1, or if you just guys want to watch it on your own. Let me know. I'm happy to do it. All right. Hi, Sue. All right. Go to work. I've been working. I've been sitting here working, guys. Okay. I will. All right. Everybody wants you to come back at 1. I will come back at 1. We're still going to hear from the second lawyer who represents the father. And then, of course, we're going to hear from the lawyer that represents the defendant, Bryan, who was doing the photographing. And he's always got a lot to say. And then we will hear the sentencing. So that's probably going to be like another hour. So I will come back at 1 since everybody wants me to. I haven't even had breakfast.
We are going to take a quick break right now, but we have a lot of news to cover. After the break, you're streaming CBS.
Let me stop sharing.
Always on.
All right. I'll see you guys back at 1 o'clock. Thank you guys for coming.
I'm Nora O'Donnell in our nation's capital. We're here at the White House with the President of the United States.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
The Supreme Court